I really don't know how I feel about Chips the War Dog. On the one hand, it is a good film. There are a lot of things about this that I can praise, and I will, of course, expand on those aspects. But at the same time, I don't want to think about it. I didn't enjoy watching it because it made me emotional, and there are some aspects that I really didn't like. So, in general, if you're curious, check it out. It does a lot of things right, but it's not the easiest watch. This was released in 1989. It's a Disney film directed by Ed Kaplan, and it's written by Michael Partridge and Janice Hickey, with a cast including Brandon Douglas, Ned Vaughn, Paxton Whitehead, and various others. And this is about a family who sees an advert that's asking people to think about donating their dog to the US Armed Forces. And my first thought, and I stand by this, is that if you're willing to donate your dog to take part in the war effort, you don't deserve the dog. Decent pacing. We get to this point pretty quickly. The family donates the dog, and he's accepted into the army very quickly. They establish that, yes, this dog could be helpful, and I absolutely hate it. Sure, not every animal who was involved in the war effort died, but it's not a secret that animals did die during the Second World War as a result of the war. How dare they give up their family pet? I am very much of the mind that if you have a pet, you should treat them like a member of your family. If you didn't have to, would you willingly give up your child to go to war? It's absolutely a choice. There was no dog conscription. They chose to do this. They chose to give up their child, and there was always a risk that the dog was going to die. Whether or not that happens, I'm not going to say, but the point there is that they did die during the war. And I think it's utterly disgusting, and they don't deserve the dog. Unfortunately, the army doesn't deserve the dog either, so it's not really a great time for the dog. And again, it's not to say that the film is in favour of dogs being involved in the war. It's just telling a story. This is an unfortunate part of history. I'm not saying that the film is in celebration of this, but at the same time, that doesn't make it any easier to watch. And this beautiful, beautiful dog called Chips works alongside Danny, and it's about them bonding, spending time together, and the value Chips brings to Danny, which I appreciate. I can appreciate that it could be, well, obviously would be very, very difficult to be involved in the war, and if dogs can bring a little bit of happiness, that wasn't their primary purpose, but if they can bring a little bit of happiness to the soldiers who have been forced to join the war because of conscription, then I don't absolutely hate that aspect of it. So there are some sweet moments, but I have to forget what happened to some dogs in order to enjoy those sweet moments. We do get to see the trainings with loads of different dog breeds, and it's absolutely adorable. And I guess it isn't a surprise, but the film is more patriotic than it is heartbreaking. It's a Disney film. It was never going to be too intense or too harrowing, although that being said, there are some Disney films that are quite difficult to watch because they're traumatizing. Their animations tend to be more traumatizing than their live actions. There is a lot of patriotism here, which, again, I don't think is the film being in favour of what's happening. It's just reflecting attitudes at the time. So it does it right. It feels believable. It feels realistic. And in general, it's a good story. And it's telling an important piece of history. And it certainly encourages us to remember that dogs were forced to be part of the war effort. And let us never forget that. Dogs were sacrificed, which I think is absolutely disgusting. So it's telling an important story. But that doesn't mean it's an easy watch. Visually, it is good. Great camera work, great costumes, solid performances from both humans and dogs. Many, many, many beautiful dogs. Absolutely adorable. And as I said, it wasn't quite as dark and harrowing as it could have been. Again, it's a Disney film, no surprise there. But I don't want to think about this as a topic. So in general, the story is well told. The film is well presented. I don't really have any issues with any aspect of it. I guess my real issue is the fact that this just existed in general. And that means it's difficult to watch. Do I recommend it? It's difficult because I feel like it would only be interesting to animal fans, to dog fans. But if you are a dog person, it's not going to be a nice experience. Just because of the concept. Again, the film itself isn't the most intense, but it will make you think about things that happened. And that's not a pleasant experience. So the target audience, in my opinion, are not likely to enjoy it. And that makes it a little bit confusing. Check it out if you want to. But if you don't want to, you're not missing too much. It's a decent story, but it's not a nice experience. I wouldn't watch it again. I kind of wish I hadn't watched it once. Chips the War Dog might be reminding us of the role that dogs played in the war, or one of the roles that dogs played in the war. But at the same time, while we shouldn't forget it, I don't really want to think about it.